And we are live.
Oh, man.
Very first live on the old Peach Fuzz. Making sure it's working here on X. Looks like it is a bit delayed, so I'm gonna go ahead and exit that
82
out so I
people.
don't see myself. But yeah, we decided to go live, kind of leading up to the high school season. Obviously kicking off things Monday. But you were just out at a game at Etowah. Saw some pretty electric stuff there. What you got?
Yeah, I mean, I had to go see two of the teams we're going to talk about tonight, Etowah and Marist. We're going up against each other tonight in the scrimmage. You're able to see a lot of their top arms. Matthew Sharman threw for Etowah alongside Jackson Rose, and then Jamie Bison's threw for Marist. Some good arms up to 92 from Sharman and Bison's. Jackson Rose up to 90 as well with a really good changeup. Colin Anderson, a kid we've talked about a lot on this show already, had one of the more impressive swings of the night. Went down 0-2 on a couple breaking balls, sat breaker on the third pitch, and hit it over the scoreboard. So that was fun, seeing a 14-year-old hit balls over the scoreboard with one of the most effortless swings that I've seen in quite some time. So that's floating around the Twitter sphere. If you guys want to see that, that was nice. Shout out to Trevor Condon, who followed it up a couple swings later on the first pitch he saw on a massive pull side no doubter that I did not get. So we're going to just say that on that one. But shout out to him. He went 2 for 2 tonight. And one of the top teams in the state looked like it tonight.
Nice. Yeah, a lot of good scrimmages going on. We saw Josh Gibbs hit a bomb over at his scrimmage.
Yeah, he was
raking.
And
then Reed Gaines got a hold of one against Childs down in Florida in their scrimmage. So a lot of good stuff going on. But one thing real quick, we got John Stuetzer waiting to come in, so we'll get going with him here in just a sec. But want to say the summer schedule's live. We just got our summer schedule on the board. So we'll kick things off in May with the Lake Point Summer ID that we always run, kind of right in between that first summer tournament. So looking forward to that one. And then we'll have the big top prospect games June 3rd and 4th for the underclass guys, and then June 10th and 11th for the upper class guys. So those are always pretty much our favorite events of the year. 150 to 200 for both of those with really strong coaches turnout. So looking forward to those. And then a new one we'll be throwing up this year will be down in Savannah on June 12th. Try to get down there. New part of the state that we've tried to get in the past. So that should be fun. And then on June 17th, we'll be at the University of Georgia. Brand new field, fully renovated. So excited to get in there. I know that Coach Bennett and those guys are also excited to have us. But with that, we'll go ahead and let John in.
John,
what's up?
What's up? How are y'all doing?
Good. I know you said you had to get the haircut.
I did.
Time for Pope baseball, huh?
Sure, for sure.
Yeah, well, give us a quick little rundown about the weekend. I know we were kind of talking, kind of taking it back to where it first started. North Forsyth was the first time I ever got to see you. And you ended up coming in on the mound to relieve, which was fun. But honestly, it was one of those things. It was just, it all just started kind of clicking. And then, we followed you throughout that whole sophomore season, and then you ended up on the future games. But I guess first, just kind of give us your thoughts on the weekend at Super 60.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I appreciate y'all. It was definitely an experience. Put a lot of pressure on me, but had that with well, it was just kind of it was scouts instead of colleges. So I mean, it was great.
The atmosphere it's like it's kind of in a tight setting, like you're indoors and they're all just kind of on top of you. So definitely a nerve-wracking experience. I think you ended up with one of the top 10-yard splits, right, Ian, in Super 60 history?
30-yard splits and 30-yard.
30-yard split. Nice.
I mean, the 10-yard was still impressive at 155, but running your 60 into a group of 100 scouts has got to be the most intimidating situation, because it just was like a sea of scouts at the end of the 60. So I can't imagine how that was.
For sure.
Yeah, no, and you thrive in those, those types of situations just with your football background and everything else. But touching on that a little bit more, what's it been like, like I said, first seeing you at North Forsyth, that early in that sophomore season, probably late February maybe. What's it been like going from that and then coming to top prospect games and then getting that future games invite? Just talk a little bit about that, how it's been in the prep baseball Georgia world.
Yeah, so I mean, at first, I wanted to play college football, to be honest, and y'all kind of just gave me that first shout to showcase, told me I had a shot at future games, and I kind of just took it and ran with it. And I don't think if I had future games, my recruiting process would have been way harder.
Yeah, no, that's all. That's all. And I remember that at top prospect games, you were warming up, and I walked up to him like, "Hey, like I may have a spot on Team Select," and then it was just one of those things like I got to have this kid on Team Georgia. And then you came, showed out, of course, and the recruiting process obviously was a lot of fun for you, right?
Sure. It was great.
Yeah, and then ended up on Florida State. So yeah, that's awesome. Look forward to following there. But tell me a little bit about this senior season at Pope. I know we were talking before we got on the plane. Talk a little bit about what you got going on. I know you hit a ball 450 feet, farthest ball ever hit at Pope, I've heard. So yeah, what's going on over there?
Yeah, I mean, had a lot of off-season work with power-wise, so I mean, I just got a hold of one that felt good. But I think we're going to be pretty good this year. We are returning most of our players. We only lost about three or four starters, maybe.
Yeah,
and I think once we fill in a couple spots, we'll look really good. We got our team's actually very young. We got a couple seniors, but the younger guys, they stepped up last year, so they're coming back. So it'll be great to see what they do.
Yeah, a ton of young guys last year with Morneau, and then obviously Wimbush coming up. But yeah, really excited about the squad over there with you and kind of Garrett as kind of the two, senior leaders. You in the lineup, him on the mound, and you got Abney in the lineup, Wimbush, both Morneaus. Tanner's probably going to have another crazy year. I know we were talking about like all he does is hit. So, yeah, really excited to see you guys here at Georgia Dugout Club here in the next week or so. What's the big matchup you're looking forward to at Georgia Dugout Club?
Probably when we play Ty Peoples at what school is he at?
Franklin County.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah. I think we'll see a lot of those same scouts that we saw at Super 60. I know we had a few area Georgia guys there, so I know that place is going to be swarming. So. Yeah, awesome, man. I appreciate you jumping on. Just wanted to touch base with Super 60 and all the other stuff you had going on. But yeah, appreciate it, and we will see you in a week or so.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
Yep,
Appreciate it, John. See you Friday, brother.
Yeah.
Nice and easy there. First call in live, went smooth. It was fun at Super 60. Talking on that, Ian, it was your first Super 60 experience.
Yes.
I got to bounce around a little bit. Just we had our winter meetings there, and then it led up to the Super 60. So I've been there a couple times, not with 7 Georgia guys there. So I was excited to be there for that. But yeah, how was your first experience?
I mean, it's a lot. The facilities quite impressive. It's at least 100 yards long turf. There's soccer going on. There's girls volleyball going on, and there's also like the biggest preseason showcase in the country going on at the same time with 60 of the best kids you're going to find. So it was good. It was good to see our guys show out. Obviously, having John there, having guys like Josh Gibbs, somebody we haven't seen in that showcase setting, and having him show out in that setting was pretty cool. Seeing Cannon Golden again in a monster setting, showing off that polish, along with another former future gamer in Terrence Bowen. The arms look good. It was a great experience for me. I mean, I'm ready to have that amount of Georgia guys every year from here on in. I mean, I think that's set the standard, having 7 guys, led the event most ever in Georgia, like you mentioned. So
yeah,
I think we're ready with these next couple of classes. I think we have the talent to do it here.
Yeah, we told Shooter, we said, go ahead and get 4 or 5 spots on lock for the Georgia guys. So 26s, 27s.
It's a given.
Yeah, definitely. And that pitching setting, man, I never, stayed that long for the pitching in the years past. And I think they've actually changed it since when I was there, because I wasn't there last year. But man, the pitching setting, there's like guys right on top of you. They bring down the netting and it like cuts the field in half. So you got guys right behind you with a table, and then you get the whole scout setting around it with bleachers and everything else. And that was really fun. Reed Worley kicked it off for us, bumping a couple 93s, ripping off his usual slider and really good changeup. And
speaking of Reed, I believe he even bumped a 4 tonight in his scrimmage. So
nice. Yeah, we got to
put that out there. Yeah, so that was good to see. Like I mentioned the scrimmages earlier. So yeah, the guys are showing out here in the state early.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Reed. He's got his like a routine down. He's really sticking to it, which is obviously paying off for him. But Underwood looked great. I hadn't seen him in a while. He's definitely shot up a little bit, added a couple inches, couple pounds. I think he bumped
DJ.
91.
Yeah, DJ added looked some good weight as well. So
Yeah, no, it was a great weekend. Like I said, we couldn't have asked for a better weekend with a really good group of guys, and looking forward to chasing more of these 25s. I know you are throughout the spring, just with the draft stuff coming up. I know we'll have
my schedule's getting robust already. I think we got 20 something games already lined up for the next 20 days. So we're coming out to see y'all. It's started tonight. I don't think I'm home for the next. I don't know which night I have off coming soon, so I'm ready for it. And let's talk about these Power 25 teams that we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah, just a quick little refresher. We released the 25 to 15 last week. We haven't put it on the site yet. We're going live with everything tomorrow. We kind of wanted to announce this last little 14 to 1 on here. Like I said, going live and doing something new. But quick refresher, we had
here. This is crazy. Look at that.
Yeah, I've got a few on there. I haven't even quick refresher. 25. We got Denmark. 24 Noonan. 23 North Hall. 22 Coffee. 21 Walton. 20 North Cobb Christian. 19 North Forsyth. 18 Carrollton. 17 Grayson. 16 Harlem. And 15 Stars Mill. And with that, our 14th team in the Power 25 will be Loganville. It's hard not to have these guys in the mix after last season. They really put together a pretty awesome season with how things were going. And we have Jordan Johnson back, who was just at preseason All-State, looked really, really strong for the season. He's bouncing back from an injury. So Loganville is going to be Loganville. We've talked about it before on here. They're going to compete.
Going for 4 in a row, I believe.
Yeah, and that's crazy, especially in the state of Georgia.
Yeah. And they've done it twice in the last 10 years. 2 3-peats in 10 years is crazy. I think I mentioned that already on here, but that's just a silly thing to talk about here. Yeah, this talent in the state here.
For sure. So coming in at 13, we'll have North Oconee. We'll let you touch on them a little bit. They got a lot of good returning pieces with future gamer Noah Allen leading the way on the mound for them.
Yeah, I think it's a huge year for Noah. The reports coming out early this spring and in fall have been huge. He's throwing a ton of strikes. Fastball's up to 93, 94. Breaking ball is really good. Going to have a chance to be the one for this team this year with KJ Moon moving on to Mercer. Guys like we have 4-star receiver Landon Roldan in the outfield coming back, who's going to be big for them as well. They have some young up-and-coming underclassmen that are going to be big for this team. And I think with Stars Mill losing a ton of pieces coming into this year, I think North Oconee has a chance to make a run in 4A. They're another team that I think they went back-to-back 2 or 3 years ago. So they know what it takes to win. They have the pieces to do it this year, and I think we're going to see a good run on the Titans this spring.
Yeah, definitely. And Patrick Hassan's going to be a big piece for them. 2A, 27 for him. We got to see him at All-State. So bumping up to number 12, we have Coach Kemp and Cherokee Bluff. That's a team that we were really high on last year and really returning, pretty much all their big pieces. KT Thompson's back healthy, had a huge year in football. Him and Landon Kitt both went off on the football field, which is always cool to see. But they'll be returning those guys with Tucker Holton on the mound as the ace for them. And then, having Bo Bruns back healthy will be really big for them behind the plate. Yeah. He's super versatile. We really liked him at All-State. Landon Rollins is going to be a big sophomore on the mound for them. Didn't see a ton of time last year as a freshman, but he's shot up as well. Probably 6'2", 6'1", 6'2" now, and mid-80s righty that's going to creep into the upper 80s and throw a lot of strikes. Really good breaking ball. Like I said, throws a lot of strikes, so he's going to be big on the mound for them. Bryce Fontenot, that's right? Fontenot, yep. He'll be another one. I think if he can find the zone, we got to see him late in the fall, looked really strong.
Both 88, I believe.
Yep, and at the plate. So, yeah, Coach Kemp's got a lot of good stuff going on there. We'll definitely get out to see them early. And with number 12, that'll take us right up to number 11 with Parkview.
Yeah, I mean, Parkview, one of the perennial powerhouses here in Georgia. They return a ton of quality pieces. Starts with Porter Berryman leading the rotation. The former future gamer is had one of the more obscene numbers throughout the year last year. I think it was a sub 1 ERA, over 80 strikeouts. It's going to be the ace this year for this team with the departure. Excuse me, with the loss. Who was the one last year? I'm Thorpe Muskie, who's now at Georgia Tech. There, excuse me there. So Porter moves in the rotation. They return another future gamer, and now LSU commit Malachi Washington in center, who's fills it up, a 5-2 player there. Excuse me, Andreas Jimenez returns as well, an underclassman who's going to be big at the infield and in the rotation for this team as well. Bryce Carter, another underclassman we just saw at All-State, who really showed an all-around profile, who I think is going to find his way into the field early this year with the departure of Ethan Finch. And I think this is a guy that, even with the loss of Chan, they have a ton of coaches that return. The culture stays the same at Parkview. They're going to know how to win. They're in another tough region this spring, but I think it's a team that you're going to have to watch. They have the pitching, they have the hitting, and we'll see the Panthers in the playoffs again in May.
Yeah, we got to talk to Coach Reynolds at the Gwinnett County Media Day that we got to go to, and like you said, culture is going to stay the same. I think Malachi is keeping that group really, really loose. Just that's kind of the way he plays. So I think they'll kind of rally around him, and we just got to see Amani Ford over at the East Georgia preseason ID, and really liked what he had going on. Kennesaw State commit. So yeah, I think that group's going to be really, really strong. I really like Andres both on the mound and at the plate. I think he got a hold of one the other day in their inner squad and went like backside over the light pole. So he's kind of an up-and-coming sophomore to keep an eye on. So yeah, and then bumping up into the top 10, at 10 we will have the Cartersville Hurricanes. It's been a staple in the state the last, for forever really, but the last couple of years, and dropping that state championship game, I think they're going to be coming back, and Coach Tucker's got those guys dialed in, and I think that they definitely will have another strong season. Andrew Purdy kind of at the forefront for them, and then they'll have Nate Russell back on the mound. Probably their one, right? He'll probably be the one. Russell is the one.
Or Avery or Shiflett will be the one returning from injury.
Yeah, Shiflett's back healthy.
Sure.
Yep, Kennesaw State commit. We'll excited to see him back. He's always been one of my favorite arms coming through. Big pitchability lefty that throws a lot of strikes. So that'll be a good 1-2 punch for those guys. And then who else we got? Cameron Cochran as a senior for them at the plate. So
Tristan
a lot of good
as well.
Yeah, Jules Pratt has been a staple. We've seen him in a lot of events over the years behind the dish.
We've heard a ton about this freshman up and coming as well, and David Vargas, who I think has a chance to make varsity this year for this team as well. I think that's going to be one to watch. One we haven't quite seen live, but heard a ton about, and I think he'll be on the docket early for us this spring.
Yeah, definitely. Short drive over there for you, so definitely check them out early.
Yeah, absolutely. Had some good ones there last year. Yeah,
coming in at number 9, cracking the top 10 will be North Gwinnett. A staple that's really returning a lot of strong pieces. I know you were planning on getting out to a practice and just didn't work out, but yeah, we talked to them at the Gwinnett County Media Day as well, and Georgia Tech commit Ryan Hall leading the way for them with Ian Bignell and Caden Wilson, pair of young Harris commits there. I think that North Gwinnett's in for a really good season.
Yeah, they're one of the more senior teams in their region. I think, like you mentioned, Ryan Hall, Sanford Halcomb as well. I think Caden Wilson, a guy who's going to take over at shortstop, or Eric Parker's going to in line have a really big year. Ian Bicknell, again, another guy you mentioned as well. I think this team's, again, knew how to win last year. They had the pieces. They were, I think, maybe a year away, and I think this is the year they make that run. I don't think there's going to be a player a non-upperclassman in the starting lineup, and having that as an everyday lineup is as big as you can get in this, especially in region play, when you can trot guys out there that can handle any pitching they're going to see every night is going to be huge. I think they have a chance to be a 25-win team. I mean, obviously in the top 10 for us. I think it's one of the teams we're bullish on heading into the spring.
Yeah, definitely. And keeping the Gwinnett train rolling here, got a few in a row. Buford, another one that we got to talk to at the Gwinnett County Media Day. Like you said, Super 60 All-American, Cannon Golden. I think he's going to come out swinging. went down in that very last AB and that last playoff game against Brookwood. So I think he's got a chance to have a really big year. I think he's really motivated to have a really big senior year. But a lot of young pieces there, a lot of young pieces that we really like. I think they're going to have to figure that out. I think, and on the mound is probably another little bit of a question mark for Coach Chester. I think he has Braden Burden as the one there. Aiden Lockett looked awesome at preseason All-State.
That's what I was mentioning.
Upper 80s, 89. I think he might have bumped to 90.
Really physical now. Body's really filled out.
Yeah. So if he comes into play there on the mound, I think that having a 1-2 punch there could be good. I think some of those guys out of the pen or he's going to have to find some consistency there. But man, with Dexter coming up and Leo, I think they're going to be in the mix from what it seems. It's hard not to have them in the mix. So yeah, I think if some young guys start putting some stuff together for them, Carson Reeves is a guy that I'm really high on. I got to see him at the end of the fall, and not sure exactly
as well.
Yep, not sure exactly what he'll do for Buford this year, but I think he's got a shot to get some time on the mound. Bumping 86, 87 towards the end of the fall, so I think he's ready to go. But yeah, a lot of good stuff going on at Buford as always. Losing some big arms, but I think that they'll have the young talent to get back to the playoffs in 25. Coming in at number 7, leaving the Gwinnett County area, we'll have North Paulding with Coach Matt Richardson, who does an awesome job over there with those guys. But yeah, a lot of good pieces over there. I know you really like.
Yeah, I'll actually be at North Paulding tomorrow for practice. Me and Black Cobra Media will be there doing a little bit of a practice tour as we get rolling into the season. Want to get out as many teams as possible. But yeah, I think this is a team that made a really impressive run last year. They won 24 games, ended up making it to the Final Four. They returned some really quality pieces both on the mound and at the plate. Yenli Nolasco is going to be one of the biggest two-way pieces you're going to find for this team. It's going to be low 90s on the mound. He's going to have stupid raw power in the outfield, and he's also going to give you an above-average glove in center. Nathan Rowland is a really good bat and a really good catcher behind the plate. Cade Cox is a junior now, uncommitted, been a 3-year starter for this team. I think he's going to really find himself in a leadership role for the squad this year. I think he's looked as good as – he handles quality pitching. He handles at-bats well. He shows a really good glove at short. He's going to stick there senior year as well. He's one of the guys that I think they're going to lean on this year. They've added some other pieces. They have some underclassmen like Wesley Mooring, who I think hit 9 bombs last year in a limited role as a freshman. So I think he's going to have a chance to really flourish. I think he's going to be locked into an everyday role at second base, from what I'm told. So I think he's got a chance to really flourish and be one of the guys that steps up and takes his team back to a deep playoff run like they had last year.
Yeah, and not sure if we're going to have some breaking news here, but Colin Brightwell's over there now. One of the top 25 uncommitted outfielders in the state, one of the fastest guys in the state. I think he stole some absurd amount of bags last year at Redan.
60 or 68, something like that. It was silly.
Yeah, obviously can't beat that piece there with him. And J.R. Hoffman is a really interesting one that one of our interns chased around in the summer, always was catching him, with a really strong appearance on the mound or at the plate. Yeah. So keep an eye out for him. Obviously, cracking into that lineup is going to be tough, but Coach Richardson does a good job over there. Really good atmosphere to play at. It's always really, like I said, really big atmosphere at North Paulding. Fans travel well, so just a lot of good stuff going on over there.
Lucas Vargo, an arm for them, and I really like low slot, low 90s with a really good sweeper. I think he's got a chance to flourish. I believe a Wofford commit has a chance to flourish as the 1 possibly or the 2 for them this year, which is going to be huge. And one last guy I wanted to mention, replacing his brother in the lineup is the younger Sheffield. And I think he has a chance to find a role as an underclassman this year and really just develop and find. And actually, he could be a junior. I could be wrong on that one. Lawson Sheffield. But I think he's got a chance to really find a big role for this team and replace his brothers, who's now at Georgia Tech, and Caden Sheffield.
Yeah, no doubt. Looking forward to getting out to see them, and I'm excited to go see them tomorrow. Coming in at number 6, we'll have our, second South Georgia team in the mix, and that'll be Lowndes. Obviously, awesome season for them last year. Losing some really big pieces, but also have a couple big ones returning. Coleman Lewis, one of your favorite hitters. I know you saw last year some crazy, crazy tools. We're hearing he's hitting balls like 116, 112, like something crazy.
He's like taking the fall off, went to drive line, and like was already the most physical kid in the class, and now he's hitting the ball even harder. So I mean, look out. They see Etowah the first week of the year, so that's going to be huge.
Yeah, I think that'll be a big test for them. They'll have Kason Fletcher and Mercer commit, really strong, infielder that we've really liked over the years. Matthew Kerrigan's going to get back into a full season Auburn commit there that we got to see a lot of this preseason. So I think that's going to kind of be their 1, 2, 3 there, especially in the lineup. On the mound, they'll have Drew Inman, ABAT commit, and Garrett Moon as well, Valdosta State commit. So I think if they can put a few things together, I think that Coach Page, he's another one in the state that just knows how to win. Obviously, with the past couple seasons that he's had. Dawkins Parker is a guy that we got to see at preseason All-State infielder. Keep an eye out for him. I really liked what he had going on at preseason All-State. I think he could sneak into that lineup, over at second maybe. And then Easton Blanton is going to end up being a big piece for them, I think. We got to see a lot of him this preseason as well. I think if he could step up and kind of fill that role on the mound as they lost a lot of innings, I think that could be really big for them.
I think Blanton's going to be a huge piece. And maybe not this year, but Heath Davis is a guy, Heath Davis is a guy we saw at South Georgia this spring or this fall, and really toolsy underclass outfitter for them. Is going to make the team. Is going to find a spot here and there for this roster, maybe on the mound, maybe in the outfield. Got a ton of bat speed, hits for power, runs really well, 90 from the outfield as well. I think he's a guy to watch, whether it's this year or it's the next few years here, as Lowndes seems to pump out quality talent each and every year, it seems like. Yeah,
he was a good one for sure. Definitely getting down there in that preseason ID, seeing guys like that was kind of our main goal there. Cracking into the top 5, we'll have Pope Greyhounds. Just got done talking to John. Man, we talked about it last year. Like we said it before the flight, like talent-wise, last year it wasn't even like one of their better seasons, and they obviously put it together and made a really big run. But man, the return in underclass depth that they have, I think, is what's going to keep them there. Caden Campbell is the newest addition for them, uncommitted junior that we're hearing a lot about. I know we got to see a little bit in the past over the summer, but sounds like he's going to be playing shortstop for him. John's going to get back into center field. Drew Abney behind the plate, Ethan Garrett on the mound, Matt Levinson on the mound, Wimbush, both Mornos. So, man, I think that they're going to kind of do what they do every year. I think they got a couple things to figure out on the mound maybe, but I think that their lineup's going to keep them in all the games.
And I think this senior group has such a bad, I wouldn't say bad taste in their mouth, but to make the state championship 2 years in a row and to lose in that final series has got to be tough to handle. So I think that's going to be a chip on their shoulder heading into the spring with the type of winning attitude that Coach Chris Turco brings to Pope. I think they've made the Final Four like 8 times in the last 15 years or something like that. It's silly numbers, Elite 8 almost every year. They win when it matters. And with this senior group losing 2 years and trying to finish their career, I think Pope's probably one of the more dangerous teams you're going to find with a potent lineup. And if they get the arms on the mound, I think it's a no doubt that the team's going to make another run.
Yeah, I think so for sure. Like I said, we lost to them back when I was there, so they've been doing it a while. Coming in after Pope at number 4 is going to be Houston County. Coach Hopkins has a lot of good stuff going on there. At the forefront, the fastest outfield in the state, potentially the country. We talked about this last time, in Vic Gann, Kendall Jackson, and Noah Odom. All sub-6 runners. They're all
some most athletic
runners.
Outfield in the state.
Man, it's gonna be hard to keep them off the bases. Whether it's Vic really came into some power this fall that you got to see, and obviously in the future games in the past. But man, he came into some power, so I think that 1, 2, 3 in the outfield is going to be really strong. On the mound, I think Coach Hopkins has a plan for what's in store for this season. But Will Allen, South Florida commit, kind of a huge pop-up name last season, or I guess last summer, and then he carried it into the spring. is going to be really big for them. And one of my favorite shortstops in the state, Ethan Buffone, man, I think we talk about it a good bit, but I think he's going to go to Mercer and be really, really successful. He's just one of those kids that, just gets it done, ball player type, down from South Georgia, dual sport, playing soccer, which you don't really hear of, especially in South Georgia. But man, Ethan's really been working. So excited to see him this coming spring.
And 6'4", shortstop, great footwork. Like, he does it all. And that baseball soccer background at the next level is like one of the coolest things I think we have in this 25 class. Like, you just don't see that very often, especially somebody that looking at that frame and sticking in the middle infield. It really just bodes well for his long-term baseball career. And he really hit well this summer and in the fall. And I think he's got a chance to blow up. And that whole Houston County team is one of the more teams I'm bullish on. I think they have them on the schedule. I think February 20th, I'm down there. So I'll be down to see the boys early in South Georgia. I'm all over the place this spring. So yeah, I want to see them early. I think they're playing Hillgrove, which is a great team from up in this area, which is gonna be really cool to see that.
Yeah, and Tucker Hale and Max Wilhite would kind of round out that rotation for them with Will Allen. But man, I think that Tyson Gannis is going to be one of their biggest pieces. Tyson was a junior future gamer back a few years ago. Got hurt last year, so he missed the entire year. Pitchability righty that can just is one of those guys that pounds the bottom of the zone that could beat anybody at any time. And we just got to see him at preseason All-State, and he's mid to upper 80s in January. So can't wait to see him. And not to mention Isaiah Gallison, one of the biggest risers last year in that 27 class. I think he'll be up the middle.
We not mentioned Isaiah, that's
I know,
terrible.
Right? He's going to be on me about that. But man, he's like I said, him and Buffone up the middle is pretty insane. He's gotten really physical. I think he could end up playing that closer type role for him. Another kid like Ethan, just hard-nosed ball player type player, just has those intangibles that you can't teach. So Coach Hopkins always has it figured out down there. I think that this year is no different. And we'll look forward to getting down there to see them. And I think they'll be back up here to us in April at some point in that kind of battle for Bartow transition.
Yeah, first week of April, I believe. They face Etowah again, another team. Etowah was a rough
Some out-of-state, too. I think they'll have some out-of-state guys coming in.
Stony Brook from New York, I believe they're playing as well. Just was talking about this afternoon.
Nice. Yeah. So, man, I think that they could end up making a really big run in that region. It's going to be a tough region. I think they're going to have a lot of competitive games early in the season. So that'll be a good test. Jumping in at number 3, a team you just saw, and that is Marist. So what all they got going on?
This is a team that's got all the right pieces in all the right spots. It starts on the mound with Jamie Vicens and David Albert. It's a quality 1-2 bunch. Vicens head to Georgia Tech next year. Really good 4-pitch mix. Showed 2 breakers tonight. Like I mentioned, he's up to 90-92. There's more in the tank. It was the first outing of the year. Bulldog mentality. Command got him a little bit away from him in the first inning. Came back in the second inning and punched out 2 or 3 guys. I think he's going to be a big draft prospect heading into the spring and be the one for them to lead them in a run. I think now in 3A, or 4A, excuse me.
4A, yeah.
4A that gives them a chance. I mean, they got a brutal team in 4A with them that we'll talk about here in a minute. But yeah, talk about this lineup a little bit. It starts at the top of Martin Sheelar. It's a guy we've seen frequently over the last 2 years and continues to just put up outlandish numbers. He had a ball 106 a couple weeks ago at preseason All-State. The approach has really taken off the last year. He can really hunt for his pitch. Shows the bat to ball skills. We use the whole field. Also a 6'7" runner with a plus arm from the outfield. Jack Richardson in the 2 or 3 hole for them is going to be huge. Third baseman, playing second as well. Going to be big on the mound. A lot of juice in the bat. Kind of a sleeper in this 26th class. Waiting right now, looking at dual sport commitments right now.
Yeah,
is one of the top.
Huge football season.
Huge football guy. Didn't even play a ton of tight end this year because of the system they run in high school. But getting recruited by huge Power 4 schools as a tight end is incredible. Just the type of athlete that he is, and he's going to bring that physicality to the baseball diamond this year for me. I talked to him a little bit this afternoon, and I just felt so small standing next to him. I mean, him and Martin came up to me, and I was like, "This is just unfair. I'm a grown man," but Didn't appear so, but I think that 1-2 piece. You have some seniors in the lineup like Joe Montumbo, who's heading to Princeton. Noah Garrick, who's heading to Wofford as well. Big bats for them as well. Jack Ewert, shortstop up the middle, going to be huge. They have a bunch of pieces who have been there, played in this system for the last 3 years. They're multi-year starters for this team. Mike Strickland runs a really tight strip for this Marist squad, and I think they have a chance to stick together and really stay, if they can stay healthy, really compete for a 4-H almost state title, I would say, in this region this year.
Yeah, I got a chance to talk to Coach Strickland. I think at one of those early playoff games, he was out there watching BT, I think, and I really like what they have going on over there. Seems like he's kind of got his guys moving in the right direction. Jumping in, just speaking of them, Blessed Trinity, going to be number 2. It's hard not to go back to them, man. This 25 class is going to be really, really strong for them, and they've just added Terrence Bowen over at shortstop for them. In that lineup, they'll have the Zagrin brothers, Wesley Bass, I'm assuming will be at the top. And then as you go down from there, you got Joseph Contreras. I think he's probably going to be maybe the biggest piece for them on the mound. I think that's where they're going to have to find their way is on the mound. But talk about the transfer they got from Michigan. What's that name again?
Yeah, Hayden Pack, I believe is his name. He was the 2 for Brother Rice last year, which is one of the better schools in Chicago as a freshman. It reminded me a ton of Matthew Sharman on the mound, big physical frame, already up to 93. His first workout with BT did live ABs against the three or four big bats in the lineup, gave up barrels. They were chirping him. He got fired up, came back and struck them all out in the next AB. So he seems to be a dog, and you add a dog to this lineup, and it's kind of scary to what the pieces they already have. So I think he's got a chance to be a good piece for them. We don't know much about him yet. We'll see him soon. They're on the schedule early, obviously with GDC coming up here at the end of next week. But yeah, I think they're a team that's as loaded as you're going to find. I just mentioned Marist in 4A, but I mean the Titans really have all the pieces to be
that
state.
Kind of top 6 in that lineup. They're all just like you said, competitive. Kind of bulldogs at the plate with Bass, Zagrin brothers, Cade Kiz, Caden Dawson. Man, they're just all extremely tough outs. They want to win games. Literally all 5-6 of those guys are some of the most competitive guys that I've seen play. Got to know the Zagrins pretty well just through junior future games and then senior future games. And then obviously Caden being a future gamer, all that kid wants to do is win. So they definitely
that's a competitive kid, and as advanced, going to find that 27 class, which is
they're the junior class still super strong. Rider register, Quinn Davis playing outfield with Wesley this year could be. I mean, he's a true center fielder, but it's hard not to have Wesley out there.
Joseph Contreras
in the state, and we talked about it too. They got like a heap of 27s that would probably play pretty much anywhere else in the state, but they're just going to have to wait their turn. Jack Walsh is a guy that we've really liked at preseason All-State. They got some more young guys coming up in Andrew Cochran, Gavin Green, some big 28s. So, man, those freshmen, who knows? You never know. Injury or something, they might sneak in there. But, man, they're going to get a lot of ABs on JV and be ready to be another powerhouse.
It's definitely real.
Yep, that is for sure. And without further ado, number 1, kind of an easy one. One of the strongest teams, I think, that in the state, and that is Etowah. It's the lineup's there. Sharman is the one. I know they lose Caleb Hughes and Angelakos, but same thing. This competitiveness in this lineup, it's hard not to like, and obviously we got to see what Colin Anderson can do. I think the kid can flip on a switch when the lights come on. Obviously, and we just got to see him at All-State, but man, it's pretty potent.
Yeah, the pieces they replace, they lost some veterans, like you mentioned, in the rotation. They lost some veterans in the middle infield, in the outfield as well. One of the pieces they replaced in the outfield, Carson Moore, now a junior, who's taken over for Jake Sabo in the outfield, put a ball out to right center field tonight. Took great swings all night. Looks like he's going to slide right into that role quite nicely. We talked about Colin Anderson, Nate Curcio. Is gonna find a role in the infield, a sophomore for them who's shown a ton of tools, a really athletic kid as well. Jackson Norwood, who we've mentioned a bunch on here. We saw him today. We also saw him tonight at third base as short. Got some time on the mound. Is gonna fill roles for this team all over the place. I think he's got a chance to play the outfield as well. You have some young guys coming up as well. Obviously, Caden Borchering behind the plate. Behind him, you have some quality senior pieces who add some depth. Matthew Walker came. Boulanger, they have depth in all the pieces. Like you mentioned, Sharman, Jackson Rose was up to 90 tonight. Jack Turner behind him can really pitch, can fill it up, has quality pitchability. It gets deeper. And like we were talking about the other day, like they're going to be even better next year. They have one senior who plays every day on this roster. So like, it's kind of scary. To see what Colin Anderson did tonight was pretty hilarious. It was a crazy environment for a scrimmage. There was probably over 100 fans in the stands. It was kind of packed out for a scrimmage before the season. But this team's going to be nationally ranked by pretty much every publication heading into the year. They have the pieces to be good. Nobody thought they had high expectations coming into last year, but like nobody really thought they had enough pieces to make that run. And sure enough, they beat a team we've already talked about, a quality team in Pope in the state championship. Sharman showed up as a sophomore. I think he walked one guy in the playoffs last year. You have that guy as an upperclassman now. We saw him up to 92. I could talk about this team probably all night. It's pretty fun to watch. They're an impressive group of bunch. We've grown to know a lot of the players on this team as well as really good makeup type of players. So the group is going to sit together and play well as a team, which is huge, I think, at any level. So I think this Etowah Eagles team ran by Greg Robinson and coach and other coaches is going to be one of the teams that has a chance to score as many runs as we've seen in the state of Georgia history.
Yeah, I think just the momentum they're carrying just after that season last year and some of those core guys that they have, that core 26 group is kind of crazy with Sharman, Condon, and Dion. And then the 27s aren't far behind. Jackson Norwood's the type of kid that could start finding his groove and really be a game-changing piece for them on the mound and at the plate. I know he's still kind of figuring stuff out on the mound, but, stuff like that, it clicks, especially when you're 6'2", 6'3", stuff starts to sync up and you find that one little adjustment and next thing you know, you're kind of locked in and finding that strike zone a lot. Nate Curcio is one I'm really excited to see. His brother was one we got to see a lot of. He's bounced down to Chipola. I think he's at a different school now, but man, he's been playing basketball, I think. So once they get him back rolling, I think that's going to be a good piece for them. Nice young guy in the infield. They could be kind of some relief in the lineup. Just guy after guy, right? They got to pitch to somebody. So some of these young guys are going to see some fastballs.
Colin was in the 9-hole today. Granted, he's a freshman, but you can see what he did with a bat. And I don't think we'll see him in the 9-hole during the year, but like it just really shows the type of pieces they have to play each and every night. It's not going to be an easy out, and you're gonna have to beat somebody on the mound every night who's going to be low 90s with pitchability. So that's a hard matchup for any high school team to face, whether you're the most talented or an average team. So I think they got a chance to be really good. Obviously, I don't know if anybody's going to not put them number one in the state. I think that would be egregious to not have them number one in the state. So I'm excited to see what this Etowah team can do this upcoming spring.
Yeah, definitely. I was just glancing over some regions here with that. That's kind of our Power 25. We'll get that all kind of fully released tomorrow. In writing and all that good stuff. But any other teams you're kind of keeping an eye on this spring? I was kind of glancing through some of these. These regions, man, are just so tough. We got a guy over at Cherokee right now, and Coach Thomas is putting together a really strong group there. And that Cherokee Etowah rivalry kind of runs deep in the state. So I think you might end up seeing some close games over there. Especially when Reed's going, Reed-Sharm matchup. I think that they've been begging for that All-American versus All-American.
We were just talking about that tonight with the coaching staff. Like, I think
so that's going to be fun. And that Cherokee lineup is super scrappy with Colin McGee, Morales, Holstein coming up. So, man, there's going to be some fun games in that region with North Paulding and Walton in there as well. So that's four Power 25 teams in there, and not to mention Marietta, who's got Jaden Whiteside and handful of other guys that'll make
Mason Gazaway
games. Yeah, so glancing over a couple of these.
Tequila's, I think, a team's going to give a lot of teams problems this spring. I think that's going to be one of the more powerful lineups that you're going to have to run through with Reese and Durham at the top, Jared Glenn, Jacob Mayfield, MJ Allen. Like, there's not that 1 through 5 is going to be really hard. They're again in another tough region, and they're going to have to get the pitching to really compete. But I think Tequila is going to be a team that's going to give teams problems. Like they're going to hit, they're going to hit for power, they're going to hit for average, they're going to run. There's some young up and coming bats for them as well who have a chance, and it should be exciting to watch that team in the spring.
Yeah, some of these 6A regions, they're just going to beat up on each other with, I mean, especially that one with Buford, Tequila, and Mountain View. You know, when Mountain View has, Mountain View's got Andrew Brett going, like he can beat any of those guys. You know, bouncing over to this, 7 region, Brookwood, North Gwinnett, Parkview, Peachtree Ridge, they've got some arms, and they can beat some guys. So, a lot of good games here. This in-region matchup, especially in 6A, is going to be pretty crazy. And then you can't not mention this 5A region with Coffee, Hoco, and Thomas County Central. Thomas County Central is a team that we're super high on. Reed Gaines will be their one, and they got a lot of good pieces that we really like in Dallas Pitts, pitchability lefty. Junior for them. Don McCann is a huge riser in the 27 class. I got to see him last year against St. Pius, and I think he rattled off like 4 hits against 2 D1 arms in that doubleheader where they beat St. Pius in the playoffs. So those are going to be some can't miss games. Coffee's, we had them in the Power 25 at 22. So that's another region that's going to be pretty fun to watch. I'm really excited for this Forsyth region. It's kind of back what it used to be. Whenever I was in high school, and those games always end up being pretty electric, just with all those Forsyth rivalries with North, South, West, Lambert, Denmark, and Forsyth Central. So a lot of good games there that I'm really excited for.
Speaking of excited, where are we going to be opening night? I think we're just 4 days away now. What's the move come here? Just February 10th?
Yeah,
I act like I don't know what day it is, but yeah.
I know. Monday, February 10th. I think we talked about Harrison Cherokee. That's a good one. Jack Johnson over there at Harrison. That's going to be fun. We're going to have someone at Kings Ridge, South Forsyth.
Correct.
Yeah, Kings Ridge is going to be a really fun team. I think they're kind of a bubble team, kind of looking in, obviously in that lower classification, but a lot of big pieces coming back, and Hudson Phillips, Hudson Spencer, Lee Holt, Taylor Markakis, Marcus Ward. So a lot of good guys there. We'll have somebody there. I think I might go over to Carrollton to see Central Carrollton versus Villa Rica. Villa Rica was a team last year that made a big run. I know that's kind of a random one to start the season, but Central Carrollton's got 2 freshmen up the middle for them, as well as a freshman in center field. So try to catch some young guys early, and then Tuesday, 11th. I think I had something on there already too. What you thinking opening day?
I'm again going to start the year early with some 25s. I'm going to go out and see Dunwoody and St. Pius. Get a look at one of my favorite arms in the class, and Matthew Perch. St. Pius, we're going to get a chance to see Michael D early in the spring. A really toolsy outfielder for this class. Got a chance to be a really impact defender in center field, along with the plus run tool and good hit tool as well. Some really good young bats for St. Pius as well. I think Dunwoody again has some seniors that are going to be itching to make a run, and Zach Pauling I think is going to be big for them this year as well. Junior outs, Alec Coley, I believe, is going to be huge as well. And then on the 11th, I'm going to go see Carrollton.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Go see Carrollton and South Paulding. Likely to see one of our former future gamer and Clemson commit Carson Abdevic face one of the better lineups and one of the teams we're really bullish on this spring in Carrollton. Guys, we've talked about a bunch earlier in these first couple episodes of the year. I was just out there for practice day a few weeks ago, and I think those are the first 2 games before we get rolling here on
Marist, North Oconee on the 11th. That's going to be a really good one. When's that Noonan game? McGinnis, right? That was a big matchup.
13th. Yeah, going to go see Noonan, Trinity Christian, Hayes McGinnis, Dylan Stildner. That's going to be
Ford.
Real.
Yeah, Stildner. TJ Ford's at Trinity Christian now, so that's a huge pickup for them.
Go see Dax Kilby, one of my favorite shortstops as well. It'd be big to see him. This 25 shortstop class is just so talented from top to bottom. I mean, you got guys like we talked about Buffon earlier, Gibbs, Stuetzer, Daniel Pierce, Jackson Taylor at Walton, It's just that the guys run so deep that have a chance to be really impact players at the next level, whether it's being a draft guy out of high school, being an impact guy at the college level. I think this 25 group in Georgia really has a lot of impact players, and it's gonna be fun to chase them early in spring just to see where we're at with a full year of off-season development for these seniors that are now becoming men.
Yeah, Cherokee Bluff, Dawson County, probably eyeing that one later in the week. That'll be a good one there. But yeah, so many good games. It's so hard to choose. Luckily, we'll have a few more
to bring up is how bad the weather looks next week. So we're just going to talk some good juju and into some like this week weather for next week because
need it.
Yeah, we need it.
For you, I don't mind it, but Florida boy, can't.
I'm talking about the inch of rain on Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't care about the rain. I mean, I don't care about the 40s,
cold. Right?
Yeah,
40s and rain.
Yeah, 40s and rain is just like no bueno. I mean, I got the clothes for it, but I ain't trying to see boys pitching this. So we need some good weather. We're just going to talk into existence tonight.
Yeah, a lot of good games going on, and guys too. We're going to be sending out some emails to all the coaches with Player of the Week. We'll keep giving that out this year, and those are all coaches submitted. So make sure you get on your coach. If he doesn't have the link, have him reach out. We'll make sure he gets it. We can send you guys the link to send over to him. Obviously, it's got to be coaches submitted, but that's going to be a big piece for us. We're going to add a few more kind of categories in there for your coaches to kind of fill out. We want to know the young guys that are popping up that have earned a spot. We want to come see you guys, 26s, especially the uncommitted guys. We want to come see you guys early, try to get you guys the most exposure, early in the season, especially before that summer hits. Like we said, the coaches after preseason All-State, the phones were ringing nonstop asking about you guys. So going to get that sent out to the coaches.
Also, my DMs are open. If you ever want to send rotations, pitching schedules, anything like that, please send them my way. Anything helps. I want to get out as much as possible this year. We want to see you guys. Like that's the goal. This high school season is as important as anything else we do in the year. So it's the time. It's the time. It's the best time of the year. So we're just trying to be out there, see baseball. Build your guys' career, just be there for the state of Georgia.
The more info we get, the better we can help. And we'll have classification rankings coming out. We'll try to get those posted this weekend of each class, top 10 there. So we'll update those weekly. We'll update Power 25 weekly. We'll have Player of the Week. And then all those guys that, that don't get Player of the Week, we'll put those in our diamond notes with all your performances there. And we want to have video too. So we'll have
a rolling uncommitted blog as well. We want to push that level for the 25s and 26s right now. Find you guys some spots whatever level it is, whether it's NAIA, JUCO, D1, D2. There's homes out there, no matter what the landscape looks like right now.
No doubt. Yeah, arms is big. Let us know when you're throwing. Let us know. Obviously, I know things change with high school coaches. You never know what they're going to throw at you. Trying to throw off certain games and trying to go at guys in other games. So let us know there. We want to come see the big pitching matchups. Obviously, those rivalries are fun. We want to try to catch the Power 25 matchups. We're going to be down in South Georgia. Ian's already planning his South Georgia trip with Glenn and Brunswick and Tiff.
We're going to go see some GAIA teams as well. We're going to
all those guys. Yeah, Strong Rock, Tallulah Falls.
Christian, Tallulah Falls. These guys. We're going to try to get out to all these different parts that we didn't see. Every corner of the state will be touched. I think it's always a goal for me, and for this whole team we have here at Prep Baseball Georgia. We have some really motivated guys to get out and watch some baseball this spring. So we want to hear everything you guys want to hear from us. So I mean, I'm pretty fired up tonight. I got out and saw baseball, so we got to do a live podcast. You guys have hung out with us for an hour. This is cool. I mean, I'm fired up.
Yep, no doubt. Monday countdown's on. Need some good weather to come through, which we know we'll chase the turf fields if that's the case. We'll find something. And then Georgia Dugout Club coming up next weekend and the following weekend, Friday, Saturday there. Always an awesome time. We'll have probably 5-6 guys each weekend. So we'll pretty much be covering every team there at some point. Same thing, rotations, let us know. We'll be doing all tournament team for that, so that's something to keep in mind. We'll get that sent out to all those coaches as well. But yeah, team previews, we're wrapping those up, trying to get those finished up by Saturday. Sunday, I think we are at not over 90 now, so that's been awesome. It's helped us learn a lot of teams. It's helped some of our other guys we have on the road learn more about these teams. So we were constantly getting DMs like, do this team, do that team. And they were all coaches submitted. Obviously, we added those little outlooks in there at the end. But, man, those have been really fun to do. Want to keep growing those each year. And we're going to do kind of like a midway team preview as well. We want to check in with your coaches, see how things are going, and try to highlight some of you guys that way throughout the season. So, obviously, long season. I know you guys didn't get a whole lot of time to practice. So, slowly ramp up, get ready for the April, May, and the warmer months. But we'll be out to see you guys this February. Last little piece we're going to throw out there. Obviously, we always do a Prep Baseball Player of the Year every year in Georgia. So, just some guys on the watch list for us. And I'm going to start that one off with John Stuetzer, who we just got to talk to earlier. Like I said, I think he's super motivated. You can't teach, just kind of his demeanor and what he brings to the game. And whether that be in center field, whether he has to jump in and take over at shortstop, whatever that may be, I think he's going to figure it out. The swing looks great. I think he's shortened it up a bit. I think, he likes that high pitch, and he hits those high pitches really far. So I think he's going to do that even more this year. So he's my first one. I think you can't not have him on there with kind of his helium, year and a half that he's just had.
Yeah, I would jump right in there with the number one player in the class, two-time Prep Baseball All-American, probably one of the highest hit tools we have in the state, and that's Ty Peoples, center fielder, Franklin County. Obviously, we were talking about him earlier, coming to GDC, so we'll be able to see him early in spring. But that's a guy who's done nothing but hit for the last 2+ years. Every time we've seen him this past summer and fall, it really started to show some power, drove some balls backside. I know you saw him hit a ball on the road. I think on field 10 at Lake Point, which is silly. Like, that's the biggest thing for Ty is just unlocking that power that's in that frame. And he's 6'2", 190 pounds. So, it's in there. He's got the length of the zone. He has the bat speed. So just unlocking that power and him showing it on the travel circuit. And then I think he showed it in Miami at the All-American game was big as well. So I think he's a guy who's done nothing but hit, done nothing but show that hit tool and power and budding power. And I think he's got a guy to as good a shot as anybody in the state. I mean, it's hard not to look at his way,
Yeah, big matchup there, like we talked about, him versus John at Georgia Dugout Club. I briefly mentioned it earlier, but I think Cannon's coming off of like I said, making that last out. I know with a competitive kid like that doesn't sit well with anybody. Having that type of competitiveness, especially in that situation. I know he wanted that. He wanted the bat in that situation, even with a bummed hamstring. So he's back healthy. I think he's, got a young squad that he has to lead at Buford. I think that plays into his strong suit. I think that's, part of his game, I think, is being able to lead some of those guys. So yeah, be on the lookout for him from the left side. I think it's so simple in game. Like it's gap to gap. He's going to run into a few, probably more than a few this year, but yeah, keep an eye on him. And then, who got some arms as well. I know you
obviously Reed Worley. He's obviously the guy, another Prep Baseball All-American, who had one of the best years we've seen as a junior, continues to tick up to 92, 94 now. One of the best sliders in the country. His average spin rate for the slider at Super 60 this past week, I think, is second highest all time in recorded slider spin rates. So it's one of those things. I mean, spin rate is whatever, but it's the ability to use it in game and to pitch with it. He can really manipulate the pitch, add sweep, take it away, can strike guys out with the fastball, slider, or changeup. It's a real. He wants the baseball at any time, whether it's he being down by 10 runs or in the middle of a no-hitter. He's a dog. He's going to compete at all times, and I think that's the kind of mentality you need to be the player of the year, especially on the mound when you're in a region like he's in this year, where he's facing teams like Etowah and among others, and what's going to be a bloodbath of a region.
Yeah, and I briefly mentioned it earlier, but just the I think he's really matured over the last probably year, just with the spotlight, you know, that he has gotten as of recent, you know, really taking that big jump and, you know, like messing around on Willie's video the other day. Like he's like journaling with his stuff and, you know, pitchers, you got to have a plan. Like I was the same way. Like once you get on that routine is like you start on a Saturday and then you're getting ready to get the ball again in 7 more days. It's really important to have that type of routine. And I think finding that at a young age for him could really make a really big difference in that senior year for him. And I think it already has, obviously, with the slow progression. I know we talked about it last time, but like 74, 78 at junior future games in 2021. And then 2022, it's like 78, 82. And then it's 84, 86. And then it's 88, 89. And, you know, now he's going to be sitting in that 89 to 93 range, I think, especially when April rolls around and he's facing one of these big region matchups in North Paulding, Walton, or Etowah. Like the juices are going to be flowing, and you know there might be a 5 or something in there. You never know with him.
Yeah, I think the 5s are. I think the 4s and 5s are definitely coming.
Yeah, so that's awesome. It's really cool to see what he's done and the transformation that he's had. But yeah, keeping it with the arms, Dean Livingston kind of busting onto the scenes and at future games had a really really strong performance there. And I saw some video of him a couple weeks ago. We were hoping to get him Super 60, but it just didn't work out. But man, the arm action is cleaned up a ton. And like I'm hearing some 96s, some 97s from him. Yeah. And they're facing a lot of good guys early as well. I know we were trying to find some matchups, you know, when he's going to be throwing. And in that Hebron Christian region, you know, having that Prince Ave, that's going to be a must-see matchup against that lineup. We kind of joked around and asked him what
team region.
Goodness the crazy one.
Gracious.
And we asked him, we were like, hey, what are you going to throw Judson Hartwell in that Prince Ave, you know, one of the better hitters in the class. And he's like, man, I'm an ego guy. I'm just going to go right at him with a fastball. So, Judd, if you're watching, you're getting a fastball from Dean when you guys face him. And then last guy, I'll let you take another Super 60 guy.
Yeah, I mean, we continue to fill it up with these Super 60 guys. Josh Gibbs, man, I think he's the guy. He's caught more barrels than anybody in this class for me over the last 18 months. It's kind of like Zach Nito at the plate. There's a ton of moving parts, but his ability to work from the ground up and get on time and on sync every single time it appears is incredible. I've never seen him get beat, whether it's 90s up, whether it's a breaking ball away, he can get to the barrel. I think he topped out 85 mile an hour bat speed this past weekend at Super 60, which is outlandish. It was top 5 for the event. That's like plus level stuff that you see in the major league, and the ability for him to get to that at 5'10", 170 pounds is impressive. The actions in the infield is going to keep him up the middle long term. I think he's got a guy to really be the guy for Forsyth Central this year. They're going to look to him for a lot. So I think he has the makeup and the ability and the tools to really fill that role and be the everything player. And while he does that, he's going to put up some pretty ridiculous numbers throughout this spring. So I think he's a guy who's going to be one to watch. And the ball he hit today, I think, was at his eyeballs, and he sent it almost into the street and in left field at Forsyth Central. So obviously the power's there, the hit tool's there. He can stick it short. Those are all the things you'd like. I've talked about the shortstop group a lot, and I think he's got the tools and the makeup to be that guy as the player of the year in Georgia.
Yeah,
I mean he's done nothing but hit.
Yeah, with that high fence, that Forsyth Central is always deceiving. It feels pretty small, but like with the high fence, it really isn't. But yeah, I think that like we said, that whole Forsyth region is going to be really fun to watch. I think they're going to have to pitch to him. I think Forsyth Central has, you know, some other guys that are going to be able to, you know, get some runs on the board and let him do his thing. But yeah, outside of that, we've been rolling for an hour, first live. Anything else we want to touch on before we jump? Next one will be next week. We'll try to get it.
Put out a silly video of the Condon bomb a second ago. That shout out Black Cobra Media for that. But everybody should just go take a look at that. I mean, I would just want to point that out. It was pretty silly stuff to see on February 5th. So yeah, that's really all I have left there. Just the content will be fast and furious this spring, whether it's articles or Huddy with the camera now. So expect some new pictures on the Instagram, you know, we got some new content for you guys. You know, he's starting to love it. We want to put out cool things you guys want to see. So Instagram will be active, and I think it's gonna be a fun spring.
Yeah, we'll record these on Mondays and then post on Wednesdays. So we'll have a full week. We want to try to let us know if you want to come on like John did, talk about the week, whether that, if you had a really big week, talk about the team, whatever it may be, let us know. I know we have a lot going on, but want to try to jump on, get some multiple guys on here, kind of one after the other style and talk to some different guys. But yeah, I think that's it.
We'll have to listen to me talk for an hour. I know you guys want to hear other people talk. So
yeah, we're slowly getting the hang of it. Summer schedule, like I said, summer schedule's live. Top prospect games. Probably hold off on those invites for a bit. June 3rd and 4th will be underclass at Lake Point. June 10th and 11th will be upper class at Lake Point. Doing the 2-day format, I think everybody likes that better. I like it better. It's less stressful. Have a full showcase day the first day, and then we'll play games the next day. So be on the lookout there. Future Games is Future Games year for your 27s. We're on the hunt for the Future Games guys. Top prospect games always a big one. Yep. Top prospect games is always a big one for that. It's 2027 teams. Like always, it's going to be competitive. So we're going to be on the road chasing those guys. Outside of that, we're going to the University of Georgia June 17th. So the guys over in the Athens area, that's a new one for us. Come check out the new Foley Field. Super excited to get over there. Yep, turf. So yeah, that will be sweet to get in there with Brock Bennett and all those guys over at UGA.
And we plan on adding more as the year goes on. Kennesaw, as soon as their field is done, will be one we'll likely add to the list here soon. Obviously, we'd love to get fall as well. Georgia Tech is something we're looking into as well.
Georgia Southern, we'll be back down there.
Georgia Southern. We want to come to all these places that you want to go to. The state's pretty flourished with college talent. So all these schools we want to get into and see. We'd love to get down to Valdosta State as well. It would be something we want to really push to in the future. So this is just all spots we're going to definitely hit coming soon.
Yeah. Outside of that, thanks for tuning in. Thanks to John for jumping on earlier.
1,100. It's so cool, man. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, that's cool, man. Thanks for listening. Reach out with anything y'all need, and we'll be here for y'all.
See you Monday.